Hey, what's up, man? How you doing, Dave?
Doing good, Peter. How are you?
Hey, appreciate you being on this weekly call. We are officially in the spring market, man. I just, I think that really good content for this week's just what are you seeing out there? I mean, I just got a rejected offer where the agent told me that there's 23 offers that were submitted in the whopping span of 4 days.
I'm seeing that's par for the course right now.
I,
You
I,
know,
we were talking offline how things are under appraising going into this market, and what are people willing to do? I mean, it's almost standard. The one big difference that I'm seeing in this market, it's like forget about waiving the appraisal. Now it's just structural environmental. I'm saying people, what's your appraisal gap?
I'm seeing people put that in there, right? Maybe they're putting 5,000, 10,000, 30,000, or waiving the appraisal, you know,
Don't
all
recommend
things
it, by the way.
considered. I would not recommend that, but people are, of those 23 offers, right? Let's just say maybe five of them are waiving their appraisal.
Right.
Whether or not that's something the buyer has the right to certainly choose, whether or not they're asking, the realtor and lender for options on how they could try to compete, with some of the other ones that are being in that top tier. I would never recommend anything of that nature because we are seeing some things. If they're overpaying for properties to try and win and it doesn't appraise, well, they better have the assets to cover that gap or difference, or they may need a gift or something else to come up with to be able to actually, close. Because if they're waiving, they have to have the assets that are verified, right? So those are that. It's a real tough time right now for people that are. There's a surplus amount of buyers. There's very low limited inventory, and not only every day are more people trying to come in and get pre-approved, but not every day all the houses in inventory are picking up right now. So it's just adding more fuel to the fire, right? Where we really need some relief and have more sellers come to the market to help alleviate some of these buyers to go get more houses, to try and balance this thing out a little bit. But it's lopsided right now.
Yeah, it's interesting because like what I was telling one of my agents this today. It's like until interest rates go down to a sub 5, let's say, nobody wants to give up that. And I don't ever know if it's going to go to sub 5, right? We're expecting interest rates to go down. The recession is coming, etc. Um, some people are forced to sell just because lifestyle changes. They're relocating. I had one seller because he was moving upstate New York. Divorce is a big one. Estates. Some people need bigger houses, and if you own your house, the big option right now is how much. What's the renovation cost? Right. My contractors are getting busy again, so it's just trying to think outside the box. You and I, you know, the U and O, right? What are the restrictions on a U and O on a loan?
So typically use and occupancy, right? That means where your buyer's going to close on a house and they will rent back to the seller so the seller can stay in their house. Typically on a Fannie Freddie, so a conventional loan or FHA, you are saying that you will be taking occupancy in 60 days or less, right? So typical use and occupancy is up to 60 days, right? Now, that means that I am seeing too on use and occupancies, what they usually do is whatever the buyer's mortgage payment is, on a monthly basis, they divide it by 30 days and they come up with an annual per diem date.
Right.
So they tell the seller, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, I want to close on this property because my rate lock is only good for so many days too. You need the cash in your pocket so you can remove your contingency to go buy something else. But I'm not forcing you to get out of that house because maybe you still haven't found something yet, or you need more time to close on your purchase. So they can rent back per diem basis on per day up to 60 days typically. I am seeing some people even tell on the use and occupancy, they'll give a free first 15 or 30 days just to try and help sweeten the pot and be competitive. Once again, that's just coming up with some sort of creative way to try and help you guys, or help the buyer win the bid. But there's so many different things, but that use and occupancy does help in a market where people want to sell, they want to get the money in the bank, they don't want to have a contingency on them making an offer, and it does help transition them a little bit if the buyer has a place to stay during that period. Right? If they need to get out of their rental, they might not be able to do so. And I don't know if they want to live with the mom and dad or even have a mom or dad to move in with or a friend or anything like that.
That's interesting because I do have first time buyers that are a lot of first time home buyers, and it's like they're currently living, like you said. I think that parents are expecting their kids to not only stay at home, but bring the multi-generational houses. Hey, listen, we don't mind if you're your girlfriend or your wife, rather than paying rent, which are exorbitant right now. Save some money for 6 months. I mean, I certainly moved back to my parents when I bought my first condo in New York. It's I've gone through it. It's we're just trying to be creative, and the biggest thing is, although everybody's trying to do the same thing, we're all going, it's all everybody's circumstances are a little bit different, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of figuring it out and coming up with a good recipe. Listen, it's Tuesday, it's almost 12 o'clock. I'm waiting to still hear back from two houses, best and finals that were like Sunday night. So it's just kind of like everybody's just kind of waiting. I'm getting that text message. Hey, have we heard anything back? We don't want to sound desperate, but we're just waiting. So,
Right.
but these are crucial decisions. So,
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, we're seeing people take their time, obviously, with those offers accepted. Or someone's making an offer and they want to try and get in their offer before the weekend and maybe stop an open house, but the seller's like, no, no, no. We want our showings this weekend. We want the 40 people to come through our house this weekend and try and increase and drive up, the price. And it makes it a little more challenging, for the buyers. The more people that come in, it probably means there's going to be more offers that come in. So you got to really come up with some sort of creative way, to make your offer on the top tier of, the multiple offers that are coming in. Obviously, if someone's coming in cash and overpriced and waiving everything, I mean, that's going to be hard to beat no matter what you do, right? And it makes it tough. I mean, not everybody's in that position. Like you said, not one buyer is the same as another. They're all different circumstances. But what we do, which is coming a little bit more, common, is, just from as a lender perspective, we're calling the listing agents and re-verifying and validating the pre-approval and the qualifications of the buyer, without giving any personal information because we can't do that. But just really trying to solidify that the buyer is solid. We're going to be able to close, not going to have any issues, from a qualification perspective, and that there'll be a good, people that'll take care of the house, obviously, and appreciate it as much as, their sellers have, but yeah,
it,
go ahead.
it's an interesting market. And Dave, it's like, the standard. It used to be, if you only had one offer, like, you do your due diligence. You call the buyer's lender on behalf of your seller just to make sure that they're qualified, etc. I'm just, it's almost standard now that, hey, Dave, call this listing agent. We just want to assure them that we're going to go through, and people are getting creative, right? It's, if this deal doesn't go through because they don't approve, like, we just want to give our clients the best chance.
Mhm.
And it's amazing because I think that at this point we've seen so much as far as the creativity and, like you said, giving back the rent back or UNO. What are we willing to waive? As far as the appraisal.
Right.
the inspection items, and now, it's like, what else can you come up with? And I'm sure that there's a lot out there.
Yeah, I mean, some people that have the liquidity, um, they are paying cash, and then what they're doing is what's called the delayed financing. Okay, I'm doing one right now for someone.
Right.
They were luckily, I mean, not everybody has, the kind of money that they did to buy something, but this one particular, they paid like $1.4 million on something in cash, and now they're pulling out 70% a month after. 70, they can go up to 70, 75, 80, but ultimately you can't pull out more cash than what you put into it based on certain loan to value, circumstances. But in their eyes, they wanted to pull out 70% of it, put it back on their investments that they took the money from. But by them paying in cash, it made them the top of the list, obviously, of their multiple offer situation. And whether, even if it's a $300,000 place, doesn't have to be a million. If they pay it in cash, you can do what's called delayed financing. That is not a cash out refinance. It is delayed financing. It allows you to put the money back in your bank, versus if you do a normal cash out refinance, you got to wait at least 6 months after you purchase something. So that's one other way of potentially getting creative if people have the liquidity in assets,
Right.
to try and make them obviously a better borrower, or win a bid. But once again, not everybody has that ability. That's one other way. You're asking for ways how to do it. That's one way to do it, and they can put the money back in their pocket with what's called delayed financing.
Right. No, and yeah, I'm just thinking about it because I have so many people. It's like they would list their house, they're waiting until the end of June. And it's just, it's because of school or whatever, typical spring market scenarios. And now it's having those conversations. Hey, listen, put it into the contract, whatever it is. Because people would move, but nobody's accepting contingencies. They don't have to. So if you have something that's under contract, somebody's willing to let you live there for 45, 60 days, coming in as a cash buyer is a lot more powerful. So,
Yeah, because it'll remove any contingency that they're going to have too.
right.
I mean, if someone's buying in cash, they may be allowed to give more of a use in occupancy. It's more of when you're buying and getting a mortgage,
Right.
the mortgage documents and everything that they're signing are saying they're going to take occupancy within 60 days. So that's more of the trick, right? If they're paying in cash, they could give them, all the time they want as long as they have a place to stay. But everything's relative, and I'm sure, they're buying something they don't want to pay and not live there. So, yeah, I mean, it's just, yeah, it's a tough time, and obviously buyers are just trying to get any which way creative to try and help win bids and stand out from all the multiple offers that they're dealing with.
Right. And you know what, Dave, what I love is that we're having these calls because it's like, it's almost real time. What we talked about last week, nothing to do with what we're talking about this week because the market's becoming that fluid. And, fortunately, it's like, uh, what is it? You have to go through it sometimes. It's just the weirdest thing. But listen, we're gonna keep slugging. If you're always kind of my go-to guy on mortgages. How do people get in touch with you to get pre-qualified, not pre-approved?
Pre-approved, not pre-qualified. So versus, making sure obviously we verify everything. But yes. So best thing to do is give me a call, 732-853-4969. Shoot me an email at david.baum@ccm.com. And I'd be more than happy to answer any questions or help anyone out with all their mortgage needs.
Yeah, and the whole thing is we'll get you squared away. That's typically the first step, and then consider your options. If you're on the fence about buying or not, all I can tell you is it could get worse for you if you wait. I'm not saying that, but if interest rates come down, the buyer pool is going to get bigger. So give us a call. All right, thanks, Dave. Appreciate you, man.
No problem. Take care. Have a good one.